Gore readings, Flesh Wound Horror freaks, and welcome to Flesh Wound Horror Live TV Terror Talk. We're going to be reviewing Creepshow Season 4. Very excited to check that out. Shout out to everybody already in the chat. Swaggy G, Orc. Hope you guys are doing well. And gentlemen, how are you? How are you doing? I know you've both been keeping busy.
Just got back from the movies again. Nothing Halloween related. So,
what did you see?
I saw the Nick Cage Western.
Butcher's Crossing.
Yes, and I saw Dix the Musical, the new A24 film.
Butcher's Crossing, worth a watch for me.
I think
cagey enough.
I don't know. He kind of reins it in.
Okay.
The red in me had some issues with the movie, but that's another day.
Oh, really? Okay.
The buffalo killing is like a thing with, yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was about that. It's based on a book. It's supposedly pretty good. So I was kind of curious because they say it's his first Western, but he has Old Way.
I know, like a month ago.
It could have been filmed, though. You know, I don't know how the filming went, but yeah.
Cage just told them it was their first Western, so they put it on the poster.
So, Dix the Musical, is this like singing about a singing phallus or what?
No, but there is a flying vagina, but no, it's I forget the name of the actual musical, but they had to tone it down for theaters.
Okay.
But it's about two long lost brother. You know what? This isn't the show for this. It's the new A24 film.
Flying dicks and pussies, nice.
No flying dicks though.
No flying.
Just flying.
There are some sewer boys, not to be confused with hunky boys, but
that feels like false advertising to me. But yeah.
Well, the two leads, dicks has more than one meaning though, Dan. Like you're a dick.
Yeah, so are you, Ted. Can also be like a private dick. That's what I thought maybe it would be. Detectives.
Well, you heard it here. Dan wants more dicks.
Singing dicks.
Yeah.
I feel like you should just. I think you should just start the greeting again. We can just cut all this bullshit.
That's all right.
He didn't even intro us. The fuck.
All right, yeah,
I did. Producer Todd and Mike Kruger.
You did. We didn't get to do our catchphrases. Nothing.
Yeah, we didn't do anything.
Well, that's on you guys.
That's on you. You're the fucking host.
You missed your cue. I'm sorry. I said your name.
You got excited by me talking about dicks and went all off.
Chat, did I not say their names?
You said mine because I was telling you what I did.
I said both your names, but
and
that's
then
all
Dan
right.
got excited for dicks and westerns, and
yeah.
I'm really glad I tagged Shudder on this one.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, they love us.
And I just asked them for another screening. Well, they're like, nope.
You're 2 minutes in and you're talking dicks.
All right.
But we are talking Creepshow tonight, so we'll get right into it. So Creepshow Season 4, 6 episodes, which is, of course, 12 stories. And they dropped them all at once this year, which I didn't mind. I was a little surprised they didn't kind of milk it a little bit more, but I was nonetheless very happy to binge it all at once.
They milk us with everything else, so it's all right. Shudder finally did something right. There was a question from Mark. The real question is, where's Pug's Dread?
Well, Pugs doesn't really care for the Creepshow, the show, that much. So
he pretty much has hated it. Although he was turning on. See, he
was turning the last season.
I think if it would have went weekly, we could have got him to do it. But the fact it was like, here's 6 episodes of something, all you think about is how much you hate it.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Yes. So Pugs opted out for tonight.
He's weird
like
with what he likes.
like a normal person does instead of having computer issues.
I talked about that thing like 3 times, so that's one time I didn't. But anyways, Creepshow Season 4, Episode 1, which was 20 Minutes with Cassandra and Smile from directors Greg Nicotero and John Harrison, Creepshow vets. And in these two stories, Cassie is being chased by a monster and endangers a kind stranger in the process when she asks to be let in her home. But what can they do with the menace lurking on the outside? Then a celebrated photographer is tormented after an award-winning photograph has more consequences than just fame. All right, so 20 minutes with Cassandra first. One of my favorite stories actually this season. They kick it off with a bang. I really love this one. I was a little worried because it's been over a year and a half since we've had new Creepshow. I thought it was done because we had a longer than normal absence. So I heard rumors about maybe making another movie, and that might have been what was going on. I don't know what ended up happening with that, but I was pleasantly surprised to see them kick this off. Also, a lot of Mike Flanagan alumni in this episode. I knew I was going to love it when the when the pizza boy gets his arm torn off, and I thought that I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome. I won't spoil it, but there is a creature in this. Great practical effects. This is actually, I think, a highlight episode for me with the entire series. I really, really love this one. It kind of has almost a Joss Whedon kind of vibe to it in the dialogue in terms of the humor and everything. It's probably an episode that would satisfy.
Probably not the best person to reference, though, Dan.
It's definitely his style.
That's his style's a little different, though, Dan.
But yeah, this one has kind of an interesting twist to it, of course. Everything that makes a Creepshow episode a lot of fun. And also kind of, it's got a little bit of emotion to it, too. It juggles a lot in 20 some minutes. I loved it. Great creature. And really, really also a very funny conversation with the pizza guy. I really dug that. I thought that was just hilarious, that back and forth where they're having that argument about whether cold pizza is good or not. So pizza aficionados, you will enjoy this. What did you guys think?
For me, I'm pretty much the complete opposite. I didn't really care for this segment much at all. Mainly just the tone and the humor wasn't sitting right for me. I did like the creature, but I hated the fact that he, talked and like just the dialogue between him and the main character. I don't know. It wasn't my bag.
I'm with Dan on this one. I really like this. I like the tone of it. I knew the ending was going to be a problem because it's just without saying. But yeah, I don't know if it'd be my series best. I think I still really like that. Was it the Christmas episode?
Oh, with Santa Claus.
There's it's definitely for me. I get what Dan's saying. It would definitely be one of the standout episodes of the series. I don't know if I can give it that top billing, but yeah, it kicked off with a bang for me.
All right, so what do you rate that one then? For me, I'm a 2 out of 5.
I'd be a 4 out of 5 on this one.
I am a 5 out of 5. I really love this.
It better be if you said it was the best of the whole thing. I was going to be like,
no, I didn't necessarily say that. I said they kicked it off with one of my favorites.
Of the whole series, though, is what you said.
Yeah, this will stick in my head, actually. I thought this was really
Then I
fun.
didn't contradict what you said, Dan.
Oh, well, I didn't say it was my favorite of season 4, though. That's not a guarantee.
If it's your favorite of the series, how could it not be your... I'm not even.
Gotta be one.
You're right, Dan.
Didn't say it was my favorite. Said one of my favorite. Open your fucking ears, Todd.
Barney likes beer. Asked, is this series on the same level as Cabinet of Curiosities? I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, there's definitely some highlights, especially the first the first season, and I think the last season was
I
really,
think the
really
tones
strong.
are so different though.
Yeah, Cabinet of Curiosities is just like straight. I mean, it's also like a bunch of different tones too, because each segment's like a different style of story. But I mean, they're similar in both ways. And I think they're both fucking awesome. To be honest,
Here's a question for you, Kruger.
Was it better than Scream 81? Jesus Christ!
Watch the episode and find
Yeah.
out. Streaming now.
Everything. A kidney stone is better than Scream 1981.
Dan,
So,
did you not hear me just tell them to watch the episode instead of just giving it away?
Well, Bog Zombie already did. But anyways, cold pizza. I like cold pizza. Honestly, it's better than heating it up. Like if you had some earlier in the day, I'm pro cold pizza.
I'm pro cold pizza, but I am 100% think you're wrong. To heat it up properly, use an oven, microwave, it's garbage.
Yeah, that's true. If you want to take the extra time.
Todd, do you want to pull up Jamie Flanagan's comment? Jamie Flanagan said, on behalf of Team Cassandra, thanks for the love, gang, and no worries, it's a polarizing episode. Hey, thanks for checking out our review. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I love the creature effects and that. So, yeah.
Definitely an awesome looking creature. Very Bigfoot-esque with a twist.
Yeah. I'd recommend this one. Like I said, it Buffy vibes to it, which is a good thing, in my opinion. All right, so our second story, Smile, which I read the synopsis at the beginning. This one's John Harrison, by the way, who directs it. And
Dan,
this is kind of...
Did you not get my note?
Oh, my bad. I'll read it.
It's just hard to keep track. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Short synopsises on these, but when a celebrated photographer is tormented after an award-winning photograph has more consequences than just fame. All right. So this one's definitely one of the more serious episodes.
Pretty fucked up, too.
Very fucked up, actually. Yeah. It goes hard. Creepshow does have some of those episodes where they do stretch away from that comedic tone a little bit. I know the episodes that have that comedy tend to be the most popular, but I did enjoy this story. But what did you guys think of Smile?
Yeah, dude, this was fucking awesome. I loved it. It's like almost like a ghost story in a way, but not really. And like the whole thing with the photographs, the way they play out into the twist at the end, it was just really, really fucking cool. Really dark episode too, and definitely like my type of thing. And it just really nailed the Creepshow tone also. Like the first one definitely has Creepshow series tone, but this one felt like something that would be like in the original movie.
Do we know who directed which episode on this one?
John Harrison.
Okay, he did Smile. Okay. All right. I was just checking. Yeah, because the Creepshow comment, I was trying to figure out if this was the Nicotero one, but actually the Nicotero one makes more sense for the first one.
Yeah. But I enjoyed it. This one, it did feel like this could be a short in any anthology, though, for me. That's not a bad thing. I like the story, but it didn't necessarily, for me, feel Creepshow. I haven't talked to anybody else that's watched this yet. Honestly, you're the first two. But I could see maybe this one not being the most popular episode. But the twist at the end, very, very mean. I like mean, so I did enjoy it.
And that's what I think makes it land that Creepshow feel.
Yeah, it's just dark and mean at the end, and it's no happy ending.
It's I think it feels a little more theatrical than the series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what do you guys rate it? For me, I'm a 4 out of 5.
I'm a 3.5 out of 5 on this one.
Yeah, I'm right there too. I'm a 3.5 also. But I mean, overall together, it makes this episode outstanding.
Yeah, it pulled me back in on the second half for sure, and I was like, all right, here we go.
See, that's the good thing about like a show like this. There's a little something for everything.
Well, I like the different, the different stories having different tones per episode. Like you don't usually get two that feel like they belong together, which is cool.
All right, what do we got next?
Yeah, and for just
is Dan stalling
in
on
between,
his episode?
if you haven't,
Ooh. Yeah, you got a big delay.
Yeah, he does.
You want to read this?
Are you good?
I don't know. Am I good?
No, you're fine, Dan. Go ahead. There is a big delay. You've had this a few times, so we'll just work through it. But go ahead.
Okay.
We'll just.
All right. So, episode 2, The Hat and Grieving Process. But first, The Hat. Both of these episodes are directed by the directing duo of Kaylee and Sam Spear. And in The Hat, a horror novelist's agent offers him help overcoming his writer's block, and the struggling author can't resist. All right. So, what did you guys think of my episode, The Hat?
Dan, after this episode, I'm going to have you go first on all of them so it's easier to keep the rhythm going with the delay. But in this case, I think you should go last. Kruger, you want to hit this one first?
Yeah. First off, I love that idea of a hat possessing author with writer's block to uncontrollably spew out stories. I just think that's a really cool concept, and watching it come to life in a Creepshow-esque form was great. I love the hat creature, because it is a hat, but eventually turns into a creature towards the end, and it's really, really fucking cool looking, little face hugger-esque, and I love the way the whole story played out, and the twist at the end is definitely a bit predictable, but I love this segment. It's definitely one of my favorites of the season.
It's a segment that feels like Creepshow. I mean,
yeah.
it is. It's through and through. I mean, obviously they had to switch out podcasting for writing, so Dan didn't sue him. But other than that, I think they did a good job, and now you know why Dan would take off his head.
Yeah, Hap, what's underneath there, dude? Like,
Show us, Dan.
Yeah.
Show us.
Never know. You never know.
All right. Well, Dan, what did you think about your biopic?
I thought the effects work in this was amazing. I think you nailed it. I mean, this is that perfect Creepshow vibe that I love so much. The writer, the lead character, pretty much looks like a cross between Vincent Schiavelli, the late character actor, and Edgar Allan Poe. I think he added a lot to the episode. There might be a few episodes of Creepshow, if I could throw some criticism at it. Like sometimes you'll get maybe an actor that doesn't fully get that EC Comics feel, and it doesn't, it doesn't play quite as well. They may not be a bad actor, but they don't quite bring it home. And I thought this actor, I thought he just hit that humor perfectly. It's quite the nasty little creature that lies beneath his hat, which I thought was really cool. I wasn't too sure about the episode because one trope in horror that is just particularly horror literature is stories about horror writers. Like that's just done a lot. Stephen King obviously plays that out a lot. So yeah, I wasn't too sure, but I'm pleased to say I loved it quite a bit. There's references to Richard Matheson, Ray Bradbury that I appreciated very, very much. If you're a reader, I'm sure you'll enjoy that as well. And the ending was great. I had a blast with this one.
All right. So I rate it 4 out of 5.
I'm also a 4 out of 5.
I will give this one 4.5 out of 5.
Fair enough. It is
All
your
right.
episode.
The guy didn't
Yes.
have a beard, so Dan took a half a point off right off the top.
There's there's always the sequel. All right, so the next segment from the same directors, grieving process. In this one, Richard's wife is attacked and becomes a shell of the woman he loved. He will do anything to help her feel better, even if it means sacrificing the innocent. All right, so grieving process. So this is actually based on the Mike McCarty short story, and in this one, it picks up young couple debating starting a family and having a baby, and the wife ends up being attacked, and when she comes home from the hospital, she's very traumatized. Not obviously something off about her, and I won't spoil all that, but people start dying, bodies start piling up, and yeah, it's there's a twist to it. She's not entirely maybe not entirely human anymore, and this one's somewhat more predictable, I suppose. It definitely seasoned horror fans will probably kind of guess where this one is going, but I liked it nonetheless. This one's kind of familiar. There's a lot of very similar stories, so it's nothing too original. Obviously, only being around 20 minutes, I didn't have any issues with it. The actors are all great, and I won't spoil the twist, but like I said, I'd be curious to actually read the short story and see if there's any expanding on this at all. Strong ending though, and I think you'll be pleased. I could name some movies that if you like it, you'd probably like this, but that would give it away. What did you guys think of Grieving Process?
I dug it. I really well. The thing I liked about this story, just in general, is that like it starts off hitting you with some pretty heavy shit, but by the end, it gets a little goofy with it, and I really dug that. Again, another one that just feels like it belongs in Creepshow, which is good because I know we keep referencing that, but there's a couple of episodes in past seasons that just felt like they don't belong in like a Creepshow series, but this balanced the tone of it being serious at the beginning and then it getting really out there at the end. I love the thing with the husband having to make all those various dishes. That was a lot of fun. The creature looked cool. I wish we would have got a little bit more of it though. There's multiple creatures, but one of them I thought like the effect was really, really awesome. And yeah, as a whole, this was solid.
I'm kind of like at the point. It was fine. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. If this was in the middle of a Creepshow feature, this would have been an okay story. I wouldn't have complained about it. I wouldn't have hated it. I would have just went to the next one, and that's kind of where I am with it. It's enjoyable, but it's like not really a standout for me.
All right.
Well, I'm a 2.5 on this one.
That's where I am.
I'm a 3.5.
All right.
Cool. All right. Moving on to our next episode, which is episode 3. And it is Parent Death Trap and To Grandmother's House We Go. But first, Parent Death Trap, which let's see here. Lyle is in disappointment and his parents meddle in his life when their plan backfires. Okay, like I said, short descriptions here, but we'll elaborate a little bit more. So this one, they also throw these directors together. So if I make any mistakes on the director, I apologize. But this one, I believe, is from director PJ Pesky, and the other director is Justin G. Dick. So Parent Death Trap. So this one has some really nasty effects in terms of 1 second. I'm getting ahead of myself, guys. I apologize. I'm trying to keep all these notes together, but
right.
yeah. So with this one, this one is about the parents. They're super rich and overbearing, and this boy Lyle is just trying to kind of cope with them being very overbearing. And it's not a spoiler to say, because it happens towards the beginning, that he kills them, thinking he's finally free, but they nag him even more as ghosts. So
I don't know. I thought they became better parents.
Yeah, right.
I
Other than the
don't know.
dad trying to watch him fuck, that was weird.
You know, you were my boy. Get it.
Yeah.
Maybe he was gonna leave after he saw a titty. I don't know, but
this one I did love quite a bit. I was starting to blend it with another family story, but I really dug this one. I thought it was hilarious. It kind of plays like a demented sitcom at times, which I really liked. And I like the conversation even towards the end, where like the dad, who they're all dicks. They're just awful people. You don't quite blame Lyle too much, and I'm gonna say that's not a coincidence that his name is Lyle. I've got to think that that's a reference to a certain 90s case.
Well, there was no lemon and ketchup, so we're okay.
This one again is a standout. I loved Family Movie Night with the ghosts. I thought that was really funny. They just would not fucking leave him alone for 2 seconds. It's the best episode of Everybody Loves Raymond that was never made, in my opinion.
Now, so you got to go with Family Ties. The Alex P. Keaton off the fucking Tremors, dude.
I watched a lot of classic sitcoms with my mom. Never really Family Ties. That was one of those few that I don't know why.
I don't remember it rerunning like right away. I remember.
Yeah.
So I don't know when. Yeah, I think it was out of first run by the time you started watching.
Yeah. So I don't know. Never connected with that, but there's multiple twists in this one, and I thought the ending was perfect. Again, this one bleeds the Creepshow vibe, so I think it'll be a lot of people. Certainly, I think for a lot of people in the top 3 for season 4. It's a lot of fun. It's a blast. I probably could have hung with this one for a 90-minute movie. Dysfunctional Ghost Family. What did you guys think?
Much better than Ghost Dad.
That one's kind of dark now. I don't think you want Cosby being able to walk through walls and watch you in the shower. But yeah. What did you guys think?
Not while I'm awake, at least.
For me, I didn't actually care for this one too much. Again, just the tone and everything. I'm not a big horror comedy guy unless it involves like guts being splattered all over the place. And we didn't really have much of that. So as a whole, another one, it was fine, but wasn't my bag.
I'm closer to Dan. I think I'm a little bit more in the middle because like I couldn't have done a feature. Like I feel like it was a one-note joke, which worked perfectly for the segment. I think it was the perfect amount, and I did enjoy it. Just maybe not as much as Dan, because I guess I'll just jump right into rating it. Then I'm a 3 on this one. So it is above average for me. I did like it.
I'm a 2 out of 5 for this one.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm a 5 on this one too.
Like
I really dug the story.
All right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. So moving on to our next segment of the same episode, To Grandmother's House We Go. And in this one, Marcia takes her stepdaughter to her grandmother's house to claim their inheritance. So Marcia is essentially a grifter. She just goes around marrying these rich men or men she thinks she can get something out of and betraying them and just, collecting whatever money she can. She's basically kind of a leech, kind of a real housewives sort of character. And as the title suggests, no surprise, this is a werewolf story. I should also point out it was written by William Butler, which another name of note. There's not a lot of like super famous directors beyond some of the ones we're mentioning on these. I
would even call William Butler a super famous director.
Well, he's not a director. He wrote it, but I would consider William Butler. I mean, Full Moon legend.
I understand. I
Friday
know who
the
he is, and I
13th.
understand in this circle, but yeah.
So a little bit maybe. I apologize. My dog's gonna freak out for a minute. A little bit light on the werewolf action, but what we do have, I think, really good creature effects. And this one, again, it's a little bit predictable. I mean, it's To Grandmother's House We Go. So, one of those ones you kind of know directly where it's going. This one's a little bit down the list for me, honestly, for this season. That's not to say I didn't have fun watching it. I just
it's another it's another one like I'd feel like a filler segment in a feature. Again, not one I love, not one I hate, but it was cool. I'm fine. I watched it once. What's the next one? That's kind of where I like
that. Yeah, that's how I was too. I thought the werewolf was cool, but outside of that, it really I wanted more out of it and more werewolf. So
yeah, the ending was good.
Yeah,
very satisfying ending. This one is just kind of a middle of the road sort of thing, but it fits the tone. I'm 2.5.
Same.
2.5. Yeah. Okay. Across the board. 1/2 hole. So that's just one hole. That's still better than no hole.
All right. So our next episode is episode 4. Meet the Belascos and a cheat code. And in the first episode, Meet the Belascos. The Belascos get more than they bargained for when they move in next door to a vampire-hating suburbanite. All right. So in this one, modern vampire stuff, and this is from director John Esposito. Modern vampire stuff is usually more miss than hit for me, and this is a really enjoyable episode. I've seen it all before in terms of the story. I mean, famously with True Blood, we are living in this world where vampires are just discriminated against, and
as they should be.
I was.
Can't cancel me for that. They're not real. Well, I know, right? I'm fucked in 5 years.
You're fucked. We're gonna have to edit this episode, but it gave me a lot of deja vu, where I was just like, I kind of feel like I've been there, done that. Once again, it's a very well put together episode. I would have liked a little bit more emotion shown on the part of the vampire parents and the daughter. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more there. If you've watched the episode, they kind of like just kind of go in for the finish, and I felt like we could have had a little bit more. I mean, it works. Like I said, really good ending, but I just kind of got this feeling like I was watching just a so-so episode of True Blood rather than a Creepshow with this. And it is tough to kind of establish that romance between the two teens in 20-something minutes. But
horny teens, they want to bang. It was easy enough to believe they
yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. This one's just kind of, again, more middle of the road. I did like the actors. I thought the two young actors, I thought they were fun. They had chemistry, and it was pretty cool towards the end. At the same time, I feel, without spoiling it, she could have avoided what went down. I feel like there was other ways around all of that.
She wasn't very bright.
Yeah. I was kind of like, I feel like you could have,
if you like
to have that happen to you.
If you like warm bodies, this is the episode for you.
And that's probably why I didn't like it.
Exactly.
I don't remember hating that movie. That was another date movie, and I was like, it was fun.
Well, yeah, I didn't hate it either, but I'm just saying that's the tone.
I don't know. I haven't watched it in a while. Maybe it was because I was single when I watched it. Maybe
I don't know. It was like, well, it's better than Twilight. Let's watch this bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate the fucking Twilight movies too.
I only had to get tormented by one, and I just fell asleep, and my wife never asked me.
I've had to see all of them. It's not a good time, I'll tell you that much.
I think watching them now, aren't there the riff tracks for those? Maybe that would be entertaining.
That would be fucking funny, actually.
I watched the first two to get laid.
I fell asleep to get laid.
As have I. For this one, just I don't know, not my type of vampire. They like kind of reminded me of What We Do in the Shadows. Is that the TV show?
That offends me immensely because this is nowhere near the level of.
But like the way they were acting and stuff. And there was it reminded me of that, but like obviously not as funny at all. And yeah, it was meh, nothing really special at all. And it for a Creepshow episode, I was disappointed.
Yeah, I was fine with it. It's another one. It was just kind of there. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. It was nothing new. It was fine. It was like there's nothing I hated it all in this season. This one just was kind of in the middle one for me again too.
So. Okay. Yeah. I almost feel 2.5 is low because it is kind of a well put together.
Yeah. See, that's where I'm like, yeah.
Episode. It's very been there, done that. So I'll give it a 3.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 3 because I do think a lot of people will enjoy it. Just it's not mining new ground at all, so that was kind of an issue.
But it was an enjoyable ride enough, so I'll give it a 3 too. Maybe I'm being generous, but
I'm a 2 out of 5.
Okay,
cool.
So Kruger
like,
definitely thinks I was generous.
Yeah, well, so far, and like at this point, after I saw this episode, I was starting to be like, damn, this season's like really weak for me. But then we got the next segment. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go first on this one because
sure. Before we do, one thing I did notice this season, and again, obviously I did enjoy it a lot, but I did notice I feel like a little bit less of a budget overall.
Yeah, for sure. I think they got budget cut for sure.
Yeah,
I think it's back to on par with season 1. It seemed like the budget started getting bigger when they were doing the specials.
Yeah, but season 1 I felt like had more practicals. Like you see more CGI now in the later seasons.
And that doesn't even necessarily have to be budget nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd have to go back and look. But I remember their budgets; they seemed bigger around the specials. This is So I haven't went back and watched the first one, but
yeah, because there's a segment coming up that there was some CGI I was very offended at.
Okay, whatever.
Any word on a special this year?
No,
I know.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah,
we
it's almost
literally just got this. There's definitely not going to be.
Yeah. All right.
We'll probably find out when Shudder releases their December schedule.
Yeah. All right. Next episode, Cheat Code. And in this one, a father and son bond by playing an old retro video game from the dad's childhood, but soon found out there's a reason it was abandoned to time. All right. So Cheat Code. Lachlan Monroe, a notable guest star in this, which everybody, if you don't know the name, you've seen him in 10 million things. Scary Movie, which Todd and Ozzy and Greg just did on Farce. So check that episode out, among many other things. But Kruger, you wanted to go first. What did you think of Cheat Code?
I love Lachlan Monroe, so seeing him as the dad was really cool. And I just thought he was fantastic in this episode. He played that character like to a T perfectly. He's just a dad trying to spend some time with his son, but his son's kind of an asshole. So it's like I don't know, when you were growing up, like you go through that thing with your parents, and then just seeing it like as you're older, you're like, damn, that probably really sucks for the parents. So I felt for his character, and I just love retro video games. So this was definitely my episode. Him pulling out, a little 8-bit side scroller was just like really, really fucking cool. And to see like how his son ends up getting sucked into the game, and it all leads up to this awesome final boss with an alien. And the alien reminded me of the alien that we got in Without Warning, but like better. Like it looks so much better than that alien that we got in that movie. But like I feel like they were going for that vibe, and I don't like necessarily love that movie, but I do enjoy watching it from time to time just because it's like a pre-Predator. There's a lot of similarities to the Predator, and it came out a couple years before, so it's a cool little piece of horror history, and I was glad that they paid homage to it in this episode. And I love this. This was probably my favorite episode of the or my favorite segment of the season. And actually no, there was still one more that beat it, but we'll get to that later. But this was definitely a highlight for me, probably my second.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I did really like this episode. It's funny because I had an actual unplanned double feature because I watched Scary Movie the same day for Farce.
Oh, really?
So I was like, well, okay.
That's awesome.
He aged 30 years or 20 years in like 10 minutes, but whatever.
Yeah.
I loved it. The father-son stuff. I get. So it was just a good episode. Cool creature, as Kruger put out. Definitely in my favorites of the season.
Also reminded me of Freddy's Dead a little bit with them getting sucked into the game.
And now Dan, here he comes to hate it.
Dude, that's probably like one of the big that in the fucking the hearing aid scene. Like that's the two reasons why I can't like say I hate that movie, because I love those two scenes.
Yeah. This might sound weird, but for a modern kid, I didn't think he was a big enough piece of shit. I was
so like, now Dan's mad they're not a douchebag.
Yeah, right.
Well, so I mean, it's just like I felt like he should. Most kids that age these days, I know, old man hat, they're real fucking pieces of shit generally. And I was like, I think you could have been a bigger piece of shit to be more realistic. Although I don't know if it totally dates itself. I mean, obviously this is like a game from the 80s.
I was gonna say this is it's kind of like the timeless thing. So if you don't nail down that 2023 douchebagginess, it can take place anytime.
It's post 2000s,
but I have to tell you, Dan, white kids have always been douchebags to their parents, so it doesn't matter what year it is.
Kids have always been douchebags, but they are bigger douchebags today.
No, you're just older.
Did I tell you about the bicycle incident?
Oh no.
So
was
I'm
it the
walking
Blaster 3000 as seen on It's Always Sunny?
I'm walking my dog on the sidewalk. and
Thankfully.
this fucking kid comes barreling with his bike, which I've never played this card, but you're not supposed to ride your bikes on the sidewalk, let alone as fast as he was going. Came about that close from hitting my dog, which if he did, that would have been a wicked ass whipping. But luckily he didn't. And then he kind of like eyeballs me like it's my fault. And I did. I was like, don't eyeball me, you little fuck. And then he did leave. He didn't try and square up or anything. Yeah.
His dad just got his ass kicked by fucking some 12-year-old on a bike.
He was probably about.
He would have been cursing Blum at this whole time. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. It actually would have been funny. I would have went live so you could have seen me putting the ass beating on the game.
God, dude, you just fiending to go to jail.
I'm just saying, like, you almost hit my dog. You're lucky I didn't slap you. But yeah, get off my fucking lawn. God damn it.
See, if it was like of age person, it's one thing. But the fact that you're gonna go beat that some 10-year-old on his bike is hilarious to me.
I would have probably have had to fight two of them. The other one at least made an effort to like go off to the side so they're not coming right up on me and nearly hitting my head.
Yeah, I'm just picturing Dan fighting off these fucking kids and they just start jumping them.
I hope they drug you off to the cornfield.
Yeah, they were still a little bit. In a few years, maybe it would be hard to take out three of them. There was another one like off in the distance. I don't know if they would have even bothered, but yeah,
they just start stripping down naked to fight. So
no.
That's a strategy. It distracts them.
If they didn't,
now we're definitely not getting that screener from Shudder.
I should have just held my arm out and just let him clothesline himself off the bike because he would have gotten in trouble. He wasn't supposed to be riding the bike. But anyways, side rant, done.
All right.
So this episode,
we should have waited till we rated this thing.
Well, I got to talk about it first.
All right.
So I felt like this one, the whole idea of the kid going into a video game, I felt like you needed maybe a little bit more money to bring that to life. I mean, it is like an old school video game, so obviously you don't need the big special effects and everything. I don't think this one was my favorite like you guys. I enjoyed it, and I can see this being a favorite for a lot of people and hitting the sort of nostalgia feels. The alien was fine. I just didn't think there was anything particularly special about this one. You know, like I didn't get to really feel as though I was watching this kid.
It's like a horror Jumanji.
It is the horror Jumanji that was mentioned. Yeah. I don't know. This one was kind of like, I can go
minus
back
the joke
and watch
stealer.
Brain Scan or something. I don't know. Needed a little bit more money, I think. But maybe that's just me. But I liked seeing Lachlan Monroe. It's always weird. He was one of those guys that I felt was just going to play teenagers forever. And now he's kind of looking his age, and it's kind of sad.
Now he's like the dad in every fucking movie.
Dude, yeah. I know. It's like, and then I like watching Impact Wrestling. I'm like, oh, Chris Sabin's an old man now. What the fuck's happening?
There's a lot of Hernandez, 50 years old. There's a lot of these guys.
He was always old, though. He was like 40 in his prime.
No, that's probably true.
I wouldn't say 40, but
later. Well, I know he's one of the later, started late.
No, like
people are getting
Homicide's fucking old too, dude.
Yes.
Yeah, he's probably 50 at least.
Fucking Joe's like 45, I think.
Yeah. It's sad. Did we rate this yet?
No, we did not. Dan, since you're going to be the lowest, what are you thinking?
2.5. It's fine. Yeah.
Kruger?
4.5 out of 5.
I'm a 4 out of 5.
All right. So moving on to our
fifth.
Oh, yeah. 2 more episodes.
Sorry, 4 more segments, 2 more episodes.
Moving on to our next episode, Something Burrowed, Something Blue, and Doodles. So the first episode, Something Burrowed, Something Blue, A young couple are, I'm going to have to elaborate a little bit more. A young couple are gifted everything they could ever wish for. So this is the Tom Atkins episode, and Tom Atkins is playing the father of this girl who he's been estranged from for basically 15 years, more or less. Tom Atkins is rich. She's struggling with her soon-to-be husband, and out of nowhere, he contacts them, lets them know that he doesn't have a lot longer to live, and he wants to make amends. And it turns out that he actually needs the husband to take his place for a certain task that has to be done every 15 years. And so good to see Tom Atkins. I love Tom Atkins. I think everybody in the chat loves Tom Atkins. He is getting a little bit older. Acting wise, I think it's kind of an Ellen Burstyn situation. Tom Atkins doesn't act all that often anymore, so he's not as on point, but it's still fun to see him. And this is a short, so it's still a
it's
good
old
time.
man. It's old man Tom Atkins being old man Tom Atkins. I mean, there's really not. I don't think his acting style's changed that much.
He needed to fuck somebody's mom.
Yeah, I was disappointed he wasn't dropping any panties.
See, I think that's the thing. That's what slowed him down there.
No.
But I think acting wise, everything else, he's never been. I mean, his energy levels obviously down. He's older. I don't think there's any acting has lessened of anything. I think it's just age.
Yeah.
Tom Atkins mustache needs to be in a buddy movie with Tom Selleck's mustache. That could be a Creepshow episode. They get like detached and possessed by something, and it's just like a killer mustache movie. Something like that. I don't know. I'm a fan, but yeah, this is another kind of so-so episode. There's the setup's cool. I don't know if it sticks the landing so much for me. Like
I get what you mean. Like there's a certain point where it's like it kind of just goes into a, I don't want to say predictable direction, but I think I would have liked something different.
Well, there was no like fucking big animatronic creature payoff or anything like that. We got some bullshit CGI. Greg Nicotero, I love you, but that was fucking unforgivable, especially in the episode with Tom Atkins, motherfucker. I know he cost a lot of money, all right, but like you should have took some of the effects from a couple other episodes and gave us some big fantastical creature at the end, because I was really digging this episode a lot, but I was really hoping, for a Creepshow-esque monster to pop out at the end, and we got some pretty shitty CGI in my opinion. So that hindered a lot of my enjoyment for this episode, but my enjoyment was still pretty high because of Tom Atkins. So
yeah, I mean, there's some fun to be had, I guess, with the ending. This was one of those episodes where I was like, man, they're really cutting budgets.
Yeah, it did give me Monster in the Basement vibes too. So like
Monster in the Closet.
No, or what the fuck? Monster in the Crate, my bad.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
the Crate.
Yeah, you could tell budget wise on this one, but it is a thing. If you're a fan of Tom Atkins, it's great to see him. And honestly, that is what this episode's really about. It's just here's Tom Atkins doing some Tom Atkins stuff as an old man. Yep. Enjoy, and I'm okay with that. It was fun to see him back in Creepshow. Right. But
wouldn't a body swap episode with him be pretty cool? Like he just trades places with some younger guy, and he just bangs everybody at the frat.
I was gonna go with he could trade places with Bruce Campbell, and I'd watch the shit out of that.
takes everybody's girlfriend at his local fraternity. That would be a funny sex comedy. But you're still seeing him as Tom Atkins. You know what I mean? Like you're seeing Tom Atkins like chugging the beers and you know, the jizz, winning the jizz cookie game. You know, like yeah,
That's some white people shit, Dan.
the jizz cookie or jizz pizza. That is a frat thing that is nationwide. You're muted, Todd. Oh, you're just yelling. Okay.
I meant to mute Dan so I didn't have to hear his goddamn grossness.
Can
White
we
people shit.
fucking move on to the next, or
I
let's
know.
rate this?
Dan, let's bring it. God damn it, Dan. We're not on fucking Patreon. Knock that shit off.
Yeah. All right.
At least something with this fucking.
I'm a little bit maybe harsh on this one, but I'm like a 1.5. I didn't love this.
I'm a 3.
I'm a 3 as well.
All right.
All right. So moving on to our next episode. Unfortunately, Tom Atkins free. Doodles. This one's from director PJ Pesky. I think is how you say that name. And this one is kind of about a cartoonist girl who's interviewing for this new job in this sort of cutthroat industry, and a rival kind of convinces her that her drawing sucks, but then goes ahead and steals it and gets the job. And this leads to her making kind of making a wish, I believe, but then what she draws in her doodles starts to come true. So this story's been done more than a few times, actually, in a lot of different anthology episodes. So it's pretty heavy. Been there, done that. We have somewhat of a little bit of a slog in the midway here with some of these episodes. I didn't hate anything. The Tom Atkins episode may be the closest to really not liking. This has some really cool gore, but again, it just felt like a so-so segment that could have been in any horror anthology. And I've seen this story. I've seen the story of, drawing and then it just coming to life. It doesn't do anything particularly different with that idea. And I don't know. This one was just okay. There is some good gore, though, which I'm sure probably satisfied you, Kruger. Yep. What did you guys think?
I mean, I dug it a lot, probably because of the gore. I mean, dude, that head splat scene was magnifique. But I get what you're saying. It has been there, done that. But also, I mean, for a simple little story, I am getting some like really cool effects. I had a great time with it.
Definitely my least favorite story. Cool effects. Again, like I said, I didn't hate any of them, but this is probably my least favorite of the season.
All right. Okay. Well, why don't we rate this one then?
All right.
I'm a 2.5.
I'm a 3.5.
I'm a 2.5 also.
All right.
All right.
Last episode.
Here we go.
Our last episode, which is George Romero in 3D and Baby Teeth. George Romero first. A struggling bookstore owner finds unpublished comics of the legendary George Romero, but the comics end up leading to new troubles involving the living dead. All right. So we go out strong here.
Yeah.
Because this one is fucking awesome. We do
see. I expected you to hate this one off the bat, Dan, because this is very stunt casting and whole concept thing. This is normally the kind of stuff you'd hate. I'm glad you didn't, but I'm just kind of surprised. Just throwing.
Oh no, George getting to see George Romero on screen. As performed by a very good actor. I didn't know George Romero, but I met him at several cons, and I was like, oh, wow. if his life warranted a 90-minute movie, this guy probably could have done a very good job. And yeah, I love the concept of this, the whole idea of this struggling business owner, family business, trying to make a brick and mortar work in modern times. That's something we talk about a lot. It's sad to see all these places closed down. And and this is another one too, where I don't think they had a lot of money. This all takes place in this tiny little bookstore. It's not a particularly, grand episode in terms of production value or anything, but it is just so much fun getting to see 3D George Romero. I would have liked to have watched this in 3D.
Oh, dude, that would have been amazing.
So that's my beef, right?
Right.
Budget. There's an homage to the helicopter zombie from Dawn of the Dead with the ceiling fan. I was in fucking heaven.
This is why I'm confused, because this is all the stuff Dan hates in requels. That's what's so confusing to me. Like this stuff is just to make you pop. It's like that's what they're doing.
It's a good story.
I know, I understand that, but it just immediately turns you off when we go into this
always
territory.
A good story. You got to give me more than hey.
It's the bookstore stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right, because they we'll
and there's a lot. I mean, if you're a fan of George Romero and a fan of those films, this is a love letter. I don't know if it would have worked as a 90-minute feature necessarily. You could be right with that. It may not have worked. You would have to open it up a little bit more. There are some callbacks to some of the previous episodes. The Hat, because we have some Stephen Bachman books on display in there, so there's some fun callbacks there. But the whole idea of putting on these 3D glasses and zombies at the bookstore. I mean, this one,
very Freddy's
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Ugh.
2 references, 1 season.
This is actually good, not Freddy's Dead, Todd. Oh, don't reference that movie. I loved it. I absolutely fucking loved it. The acting, this one just nailed it. But what did you guys think? Because I don't know, maybe you didn't like it as much.
I won't reference it, but they definitely reference Freddy Dead with the 3D glasses.
I just want to you're gonna make me knock off a star.
Good, that's what I'm doing, because I really did expect you to hate it. Like, I loved it, but normally just those things that they throw in just to get you to, that Dan normally hates all that shit. So I'm surprised. Although the last one he did like and I hated. I can't remember which one that was. There was another one, a recent, requel type one. Because I think it's more. I'd have to go back and look. Yeah, it was this year.
Further back this year?
No, it was this year. It wasn't, but I'll know by the year-end show when I go through. I'll make note of it, which one I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah, I loved it. I don't know what to say. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Greg Nicotero knocked it out of the fucking park with this. This is a beautiful tribute to his friend George Romero, and I mean, yeah, dude, it's fucking amazing. I loved all the references to the great George Romero zombie flicks, and this was I definitely could have took a whole 90-minute feature for this alone. Just the idea of the spirit of George Romero going through a zombie outbreak is just so fucking cool to me. And I also love the effect, like the way they had him almost looking like he was coming out of a comic. That was great. And this is a highlight of the season for sure, and one of my favorite segments.
We need the Italian version now with Lucio.
Oh my god. Dude, that would be amazing.
Oh man, they put on the glasses and he just slaps the shit.
That would be amazing. Oh man, yeah, this was definitely a feel-good episode, and just again a reason why I love this show, and it's one of my favorite shows going to today.
They've been saving these types of episodes Like, because we've had the last couple where we've gone into different films.
Yeah, well, dude, we got a fucking Evil Dead episode. I mean, for fuck's sake. I mean, that's what I love about this show is you never really know what you're gonna get. And I wasn't sure just seeing the name, George Romero in 3D and it paying, like that's a great that's an eye catcher, and it paying off and being a great segment was
do this with David Cronenberg, where
oh my god.
In the bookstore, it's just a bunch of people start getting VCR vaginas on their face and attacking everybody.
That'd be great.
How do I stop the VHS vaginas?
All right. Well,
maybe we send George Romero back with he can be like the more nerdy kid that's trying to get the cheerleader, and Tom Atkins is like the jock. So we send them back for the sex comedy. That
I hate
way.
this. No.
Yeah. What if we take old George Romero and we send him back in time to Night of the Living Dead, and he has to stop an actual zombie outbreak?
Yes. Or he gets sucked into his movie.
There you go.
You just get like the real Tom Savini. He's just like fucking annoyed all the time. He's more like Brian O'Halloran in Clerks than like the Tom Savini you have in your head. It's like, I wasn't even supposed to be here today.
That always seemed like he was, when he's having a bad day, I think he's just channeling his inner Randall at the booth.
I mean, dude, he's fucking Italian. Give him a break.
He's like, Night of the Living Dead. That movie sucks.
Did you ever hear Piz's story about Tom Savini trying to steal, like, I guess it would have been like $80 or whatever it was from him? Like, he gives a $100 bill and like just is kind of waiting because it wasn't a $100 autograph. Is change, please? And then it's like Savini looks at him a minute like, you didn't give me $100. Like, and it wasn't a gag. It's hilarious if you ever hear him tell that story.
Well, instead we had Dan tell us someone else's story. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, Piz isn't on this show right now, god damn it. So I'm sure he'd tell it better, but it's a funny story.
Dan always tells other people's stories. I don't like telling Dan stories.
There's a lot of Tom Savini douche stories out there, yet he's never been a douche to me. I've always had good experiences with him at conventions and drives.
And if there was anyone he should have been a douche to.
Nah, he respects him, man.
And then I wonder why he was a douche to Chris. I'm sorry. Probably one too many Night of the Living Dead remake questions.
I can kind of see it. With Chris that they would. Yeah.
13-year-old Chris would have been a lot. 33 Chris is a lot.
I hope he watches this and kicks your ass, Dad. We do have one last story. Baby teeth.
Did we rate George Romero in 3D?
No.
Oh, I'm a 5.
We're just gonna say 5.
Yeah. One big hole.
Okay. One big hole.
So in Baby Teeth, Shelby's mom struggles to accept that her baby is growing up, but hanging on to childhood relics isn't as harmless as she thinks.
All right, Dan, tag me in because this.
Oh, go for it.
This was fucking awesome. First off, probably the most annoying little girl I've ever fucking seen on screen in a while.
More realistic, yes.
She drove me fucking crazy, and seeing her get her comeuppance at the end was fucking awesome. And just this story alone is a really cool, like, little folklore creature story. The creature we get is terrifying as fuck looking. The little fucking nubs for like arms and stuff was just really, really gross. And seeing that like poke out of a dress was just, it was twisted. The way it ripped people's jaws off to eat their teeth, fucking awesome. Great gore in this. Everything about this I loved. And this was a fucking highlight of the season and by far my favorite segment.
Okay. Well, in an episode that already, hit
a home run. Yeah.
I think my nostalgia makes me go for the other one a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm more this one, but
yeah, they're both great. I really like this one too. It's just if this would have been in any other episode, this would have been the best for me of that episode. But unfortunately it's in the one with Romero in 3D. Great episode. A little overshadowed for me. I kind of would have rather ended with the Romero.
Yeah, this would have been a good warm up for that.
Dan?
I actually love this episode. I thought the doll, the monster, was extremely creepy. Felt like it was more at home in like an 80s or early 90s horror film. I think in terms of the effects, you'll be very pleased with this one. I can kind of see like maybe flip it, just close out with Romero. That's one thing this season. It really kind of, the beginning and the end were the best as far as I'm concerned, really overall. I think they hit such a high and then they closed on a big high. And this episode is no exception. This actually has probably some of the best gore in the entire season. The jaw being torn out, and very, very nasty, very creepy story that, if you're a fan of tiny terrors, this one I think hits pretty hard. And it's not played for laughs or anything. This one's a little bit more balls to the wall horror, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And I give this one 4 stars.
I'm a 4.5.
5 stars for me.
All right. Well, we're almost done. I know we got another show coming up.
Yep.
Well, the whole season. Yeah. What are you thinking for the whole season? Overall, I think it was a strong enough season. I think it was bookended really well. And I think watching them all at once really helped for me. I mean, watching them weekly, I think we might have saw the slower parts a little slower than they actually, seem now. But
yeah, I mean, this season definitely had like some of the best segments, I think, out of the whole show from start to now. But the middle did drag a bit for me, and I'm not going to say I'm disappointed in it, but as a whole, I wish there was a couple of segments that were a little stronger, because I was looking at like the way I rated these segments last year, and last year was just more consistent for me, because last year I didn't have like anything go below like 3.5 stars, and then this was probably the only time I've ever given 2 stars to a segment. So it's a little bit of a dip, but closed out with some of the best.
Yeah. It as a whole, I would say, I don't know that it's my favorite season of Creepshow. I'd kind of have to go back and place episodes, but it's another very strong one. A lot of people, for some reason, are in that headspace of just for whatever reason, I won't watch it. I like the movies too much. Just like the people that wouldn't watch Walking Dead because they ripped off Romero.
Well, they did, obviously.
Well, sure, it wouldn't exist without that, but that doesn't mean you can't enjoy something.
Everyone ripped off Romero. Get it right.
Yeah, I hope people will give this show a chance. I think the highs are very, very strong, and yeah.
And if you're in the effects and practical effects, it's one of the only shows going that goes mainly the practical route. And it's really, really awesome to see, especially if you like little rubber monsters or fucking big animatronics sometimes.
Yeah, we had some of the, there's some CG, but you're right. This one at least tries to
keep it practical.
What worked about the other ones. So guys, we're going to be live one more time for a double unboxing, right?
2? Yes, double. We're doing Vinegar Syndrome and some Toxie.
Yeah, I was going to say last time you ended up having like more and more boxes, but these are
if that one would have got here yesterday, Vinegar Syndrome, we would have just did that yesterday. But that and Toxic Avenger, so we're gonna unbox those and the other gimmick in 3 minutes, so we should wrap.
All right, guys. On that note, we'll see you right over there.
I'm going to drop the link in the comments for them.
All right. Patreon.com/fleshwoundfeatures. Lots of great content on there. And thanks for being a very awesome chat. Hopefully you carry on over to the unboxing. And we'll see you in just a few. Later.
Good night. Good evening. That's what I mean.
There you go. Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.